So hi everyone, welcome. Thanks for joining. My name is Gary Taylor, and today I'm going to run through the latest updates within Megaport, focusing on new features that we've added to our MCR or Megaport Cloud Router product, as well as some other updates. This is part of the ongoing series of Megaport Live Tech Drop-ins. So we spent more than a decade building a truly massive global network across 930 data centers, over 400 service providers, and 26 countries. We deployed kit in sites around the globe, physically interconnected those kits, then established NNIs with hundreds of service providers, including the hyperscalers like AWS, Azure, Google, Oracle. Over the top of that network, we've deployed a custom software layer that gives you complete control of the network using our web portal or via Terraform or APIs. This map is representative of the network we built. Of course, it doesn't include every single POP or every physical underlying route. Quick summary of where we are at Megaport. Over nearly 3,000 customers, over 30,000 services, and we have coverage in over 900 data centers, and obviously with over 20,000 connections live and working. So I'll do a quick overview of the connectivity options. Just find my mouse. There we are. So on the left, we have hybrid cloud. Here you connect your physical infrastructure that is in a data center to Megaport via a cross connect, and the capacity for that Megaport is from 1 gig to 100. And from there, you can actually consume any services. Obviously, the more common would be connecting to a public cloud provider. And then in the middle, we have cross cloud. So here you spin up a virtual router, and that handles traffic between 2 or more clouds at the edge, or potentially back to your own on-prem environment, whatever your design considerations are. Then on the right, we have the virtual POP. This is on-demand network function virtualization, so NFV. Here you can deploy SD-WAN gateways, virtual routers, and virtual firewalls in just minutes in real time in over 90 locations globally. In the demo, I've built an MCR, and I'll highlight some of the latest features that we have enabled. So before I jump into the portal, I thought I'd do a quick overview of the MCR, or the Megaport Cloud Router. It's a layer 3 virtual router. It provides very high performance, low latency, at low cost cloud to cloud connectivity. There's a simple front end. Throughput is from 1 gig to 100, and the pricing is based on the various throughput options. These are some of the features that we have added, and today I'm going to run through on ACLs, or access control lists, which is a feature that we have just enabled on the MCR. And now over to the portal where I'll demo the latest updates on the MCR. Right, so if I just take go out of full screen mode, right. So here is the portal. It's a production portal. I've actually built the MCR already, purely because it's not very interesting from a demo point of view, waiting for the service to go live. It takes about 1 or 2 minutes. At the same time, I've actually connected to AWS. It's a private direct connect, hosted connection. I'm in central London, and I've connected to LD5, which is in West London, and BGP is up. We actually have a looking glass. This is a feature that allows you to look into the route table. And you can see that we've got 1 connection live. BGP is up. And you can actually further qualify out the existing advertised routes within the looking glass. If we jump into the AWS portal, you can look at my direct connect here, AWS 1 and LD5. We click on the VIF. This VIF then connects to a direct connect gateway, and you can see BGP is up, and these are the local subnet details for both sides. So it's worth noting the MTU is 9,000 bytes, so we support jumbo frames, and it's one of the new features that we've added. If I jump into the VLAN, or VXC as we call it, connect on A end, you can actually see jumbo frames is now supported greater than 1500, obviously. So what this means is that if you're running jumbo frames from an on-prem environment into a cloud, and the MCR is part of that design, we can now fully support jumbo frames end to end. Not every cloud provider offers it. I know AWS and Google do. I know Azure doesn't, but at least now it does mean that you can actually fully support jumbo frames within the MCR. Packet filter is a new feature, and I'll run into that shortly. So what I'm going to do now is the next step. I'm going to deploy internet. So we'll click on connection, go to Megaport Internet. And this is not available in every country that we have MCRs. We are rolling it out, and as and when we can, we'll deploy this into all locations. But for now, obviously, UK is fine. We're in London, so I'm going to connect into Telehouse North. Click on Next. And if we look at the rate limit here, you can connect to a maximum of 5 gig, purely because that's the maximum throughput offered for the MCR. If it was a 1 gig MCR, then it would be obviously a 1 gig VLAN as a maximum capacity. We have metro pricing, so it does change as it increases. And just to give you some example of the cost that we have for metro internet out of London, here you have a no term option. What that means is that we do per second billing. There's no contract, so you can delete this at any time, and then we'll pay for that. We'll invoice you for that period that you just used. If you want a discount, you commit to us for a longer term, and you get discounts on that rate. And if you look here, the price stays, and it stays up to about a gig, 240. If we go to 2 gig, then the price does increase. What it does mean though, is that say, for example, you wanted 200 and you think, well, actually I'll do a gig because it's the same price. You could think, well, in this case here, I need at least a gig connectivity. I can then commit to a longer term contract. There's a 25% discount, which is a noticeable saving for the service. What it does mean is that you cannot go below a gig. Obviously, you've committed, but we're not stopping you from increasing that capacity. So you can go from a gig up to 5 gig of internet throughput in real time via Terraform, Portal, or API. What this does mean is that you just cannot go below 1 gig for that 3-year contract period. So for demo purposes, I'll just say 50. I'll click on next, and we go next again. We add VXC, and then this will drop into a design function here. It says design, and it allows you can save the design if you wish. But obviously for the demo, we're actually going to deploy this. It makes an API call, it validates, and it starts deploying. So while that is deploying, I'm actually going to jump into our dashboard. This is a great tool. It allows you to actually get a nice holistic view of the services that you have. This is a production portal, so which is why you see a lot of activity. All these services are live. These are genuine services that my colleagues have deployed around the world. A lot of activity in APAC. But if we jump into Europe here, you can actually see everything in black is where we have physical deployment of hardware. And then anything in blue or green is where my colleagues and myself have actually deployed a service. And if we go down to UK, that is red because it has to come up for the first time. There's obviously an issue there. Typically, it means that in the case of a Megaport, when there's no light at layer 1, we can't deploy a layer 2 service, obviously. If we jump in here, we can actually look at the services that I have deployed now. So this green connection here, that is my connection to AWS. So we're in Verne Global. It's 1 MCR, and that is connecting into, where's it gone? That is connecting into LD5, Equinix LD5. And then if we look here, we can actually see the service being deployed, and that will be the internet. We're in Verne Global. We've chosen to connect to Telehouse North, and that connection is the internet feed that is still waiting to come up. And that'll take 1 or 2 minutes, and what will happen is it'll deploy an address. It'll be a routable address, and you can ping it if you wish. So now going on to actually the new features that we've added on the MCR. Actually, while we're here, I'll just show you briefly the additional feature we've added that is greater throughput, where this means that we can go beyond 10 gig in certain locations. We're just rolling it out. I know that it's live in Amsterdam. And if you do need greater than 10 gig, then we can actually give you 25, 50, and 100 gig throughput MCR services if you wish. Right, so clicking back here, we could connect, and I'm going to build an ACL, an access control list. The actual lists are created in the MCR. And if you look here, the prefix filter list, this is an old feature. This allows you to create lists where you can actually filter subnets or full prefix lists, which gives you much greater control on how the service is routed or advertised out. What we can also do now is a new feature. It's ACL, a packet list. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to just create an ACL for the BGP service from AWS. I'm going to go new list. I'm going to call it AWS BGP, and I'm going to deny it. And the source address here, if we look here, will be the Amazon router, which is going to be 10.0.2. And then the destination will be our MCR, which is 10.0.1 there. And we're going to drop TCP, and we're going to drop all of TCP. We click save. And then what we do, lists are created in the MCR, and then they are configured on a per VLAN basis. And we go into AWS now, click on AEND. And here, this gives you the choice of actually enabling the ACL. So we're saying here on the inbound, we are going to drop AWS. And then click on save. Yeah. That will take a few minutes. It normally takes about 4 minutes or so. So we're not going to sit around doing nothing for 4 minutes. But this ACL does give you much greater control. It hardens the device. The great thing about it is that if you go back into the MCR and we click on filterless, we can limit ICMP, so we can limit pings. You can only allow pings from your device or from your network. And what it does mean is that it allows you to create a NAT gateway. So we can have inbound traffic to the MCR. We can have multiple private cloud connections. The advantage of that is you're getting much cheaper rates. You're getting a much better quality connection because it's fully private. There's no internet in that regard. And then in the cloud, you can actually run an inbuilt firewall actually on the AWS side or on the Azure side, whatever it may be. So you can run their own web application firewall or whatever it is, or you can run a dedicated Fortinet type firewall within the cloud provider. If we refresh this, it will take a few minutes for BGP to go down, but the BGP will go down. From my side, that's it. Hopefully, it's been helpful. We enjoyed it. Any questions, please contact us, and any things you'd like to see, please let us know. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining.